Welcome as you join. We're waiting for a few more folks to pop in, so we'll get started in a couple minutes. But feel free, you can read through the chat, you can get some information on our excellent panelists. And if you even want to introduce yourself, you can always write a quick, hey, I'm Elizabeth from Maine Maritime and just wanted to say hey. So that way we can get to know you guys a little bit as you pop in. So in just a couple minutes here, we'll go ahead and get started. Our Women in STEM student panel. Give it another couple minutes for folks to join. You know, sometimes you're coming in from dinner, so Zoom links aren't always everybody's first priority in the evening. But as you join, no worries. Feel free if you want, you can peruse in our Zoom chat. You can see the bios that our student panelists have left. If you'd like to add to it, write a small intro about yourself. Feel free, you are more than welcome to. All right, so as a few more folks pop on in, just kind of give you the quick updates. Feel free, you can read through in the Zoom chat short bios about our different student panelists at this Women in STEM panel. If you'd like to add to it, have at it. We like to get to know who's in our audience as well. We'll give it, I think, just another minute or so, and then we'll officially get our panelists going. So 5 after the hour, I say we go through. So welcome to our Women in STEM student panel. As you can tell, we're all live. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to throw them in the chat. My colleague, Kate Kana, she's also an admissions counselor. She'll be monitoring that chat, making sure your questions get answered or that they get asked to our panelists if you want to hear sort of different perspectives. Right now in the chat, you should see some small bios about our different panelists, but I'm going to have them go ahead and introduce themselves as well. And like I said, I've got plenty of questions from our attendees, and what we'll do is we'll basically go around and hear from each of our different panelists and sort of answer all the questions that you've given to us. So first off, my name is Elizabeth Allaby. I'm also an admissions counselor, might have mentioned that. And we're super excited that you're all here, both our panelists and our attendees, everybody in our audience. And we'll just go ahead and get it started. Molly, do you mind introducing yourself first?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Molly McGinnis. I'm a sophomore here at MA, and I'm a deck major, and I'm in the regiment.
Thanks. How about you, Ellie?
Hi, everyone. My name's Ellie. I am an oceanography student, and I'm a junior in my program, and I have minors in physical science and environmental sustainability.
And Joanna?
I'm Joanna. I'm in the Marine Systems Engineering 5-year program. I have be shooting for a minor in naval architecture and mathematics, and I'm from Elliott, Maine.
Thank you. Phoebe?
Hi, I'm sorry. My roommates are being loud. I'm Phoebe. I'm a sophomore here in the marine biology and SVO program.
And last but not least, of course, Briana?
Hi, I'm Briana, and I'm a junior in the marine biology program here.
Awesome. So you can tell we have a really big mix of our women in STEM. We've got oceanography, marine biology, systems engineering, and marine transportation operations. So we really have a nice mix for you. So feel free, like I said, to extend any questions that you might have. So I wanted to kind of kick this off with sort of hopefully an easy question. What made you ladies pursue a career in the STEM field? Sort of what brought you to the major that you're studying right now? What do you hope to become when you graduate? Molly, do you want to go first?
Sure. So I kind of had an untraditional background. When I grew up, I started rowing wooden boats and I learned how to build them, and that transitioned into sailing schooners. And I was introduced to the idea of maritime academies. So I always knew I wanted to work with my hands and be moving and going. So this major is perfect for me. So that's why I chose MMA, because one day I want to be a third mate. And we have a schooner on campus. That's so cool.
It's a perfect fit, especially if you want to study operations, transportation operations. How about Ellie?
Yeah, so I chose oceanography in Maine Maritime because I've always really loved the ocean and learning everything about it. And I would like to pursue a graduate degree and do research as my profession. So being able to constantly ask questions about the ocean, and it's an unlimited supply because we really know little, allows for endless field opportunities, and it really gets me out. I won't be in an office all the time, and it lets me ask the kind of questions and explore things I really would like to.
Joanna?
I don't really have a cool backstory. This is just what I picked, and I ended up not minding it. Probably after school, I'd like to either go sail on my engineering license, or I also take my FE so I could go work in an engineering firm, or I could do systems at hospitals, or maybe go back to grad school and do something different. But this is just kind of where I got suggested to go and landed here, and I like it. I'm still here, so.
I like that answer. It's very authentic, right? Sometimes you don't know why you pick what you pick. So how about you, Phoebe?
I've always really loved the ocean. So I knew I wanted to go to school where it would be on the ocean. And originally, probably like Joanna, I wasn't really thinking Maine Maritime. And I ended up falling in love with the school, and the professors are really what drew me in for all the opportunities they have as undergrad.
And Briana?
Well, I'm from Florida, so I grew up on beaches, and I've always been fascinated by the ocean, but no, I'm not a boat person, which is why I'm strictly marine bio. And I actually really just love phytoplankton, so that's, how I ended up here, besides finding this place completely by accident. And it just worked out nice. I've enjoyed my time here so far, and I was like, might as well stay and finish it out.
Awesome. All right, so my next question for you. What are some challenges that you think that women in STEM programs, fields, careers, industries face today, if any? Does anybody want to go ahead and take a stab at that one? That one is a tough one.
I can try. I think maybe one of the ones that I don't think it's really like an internal struggle, it's more a struggle with yourself. If you don't see people like you in the place that you're working at, like you're not around a lot of other girls, it can kind of be, you can kind of struggle a bit because you don't see yourself in those other people. But you can really overcome that, because I don't really notice that I am typically the only girl in all of my classes. But I think that's just one of the things. Or if you're in classes and they give you all these hero stories and they're all dudes, but you kind of just get over it. But that's one of the struggles where it's like, where's the girl hero? I don't know.
I'm gonna sound corny. It's you. It's annoying you got to write that story, but anybody want to tack on to that? I know that was a tough one. I'll move on. Thank you, Joanna.
I would just add, I completely agree with that, especially because I'm like in my classes, I'm not the only woman. I'm actually surrounded by strictly women, and I'm just the only Black person, and that's really what stands out for me. And so a big reason why I stayed in STEM is because just that representation is important to me. And like, Elizabeth said, I just have to write that story for myself, whether someone else is going to do it or not. Like, that's something I want to do for myself. So something I stick through and keep on pushing.
Thank you for sharing that. That's great. Okay, I'll try to give you a nice one, right? What are your dream jobs? And you might have sort of touched on that before, but sky's the limit. And this time we'll kind of round robin it. Molly, do you mind kicking us off again?
Sure. So there's a lot of different types of ships you can work on in the maritime industry, and I'm still learning. I still have a bit to go, but based off what I know right now, I want to be a third mate on a container ship or work on car carriers. And when I'm not on a hitch, I can see myself on a tall ship doing like real traditional sailing. Even though it doesn't make a lot of money, it's like really hands-on. You get to teach kids how to sail, which is so much fun.
I was just thinking about an alumni of ours who's doing that very thing on a tall ship on Maiden, teaching different students about STEM principles on a ship. And for me, coming from middle of the country in Indiana, those activities and experiences would have been great. So I'm glad that that's kind of where you want to head into too, Molly. How about for you, Ellie? Dream job.
My dream job I would really like to be in a research position in a lab. And I'm really interested in optical properties of seawater and how we can use that to make other assumptions about the conditions in the ocean. But a bucket list for that job would be I'd really like to make it to the Antarctic Research Station. So
that would be incredible to go to a place so few go. How about
that would be
Joanna?
I have the option to sail. I'm not sure if I will yet or not, if I want to sail on my engineer's license. I think I'd like to give working at like an engineering and design firm for naval architecture a try, or maybe go back to grad school and get into teaching at a university, teaching like thermodynamics or physics classes and stuff like that, because that's what I'm kind of interested in, but I'm kind of open to anything really.
That's awesome, especially knowing you want to teach thermodynamics. It's not an easy subject. Phoebe?
So I kind of have the marine bio and a little bit of the boat portion with SEO. And this past semester, I found that I do really enjoy driving boats and learning about them and seamanship and stuff. So originally my plan was strictly research, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a research scientist. But now that I've kind of dipped my toes in the water on the boating side, I think it'd be really cool to, captain a small vessel, possibly do some diving off of it, dive master stuff, but research is still top tier on mine.
And Briana?
The same thing for me too. I really want, or besides the boats, is just research. That's like my lane really, and it's something I feel like I excel at the most. I do want to end up in a lab, but the greatest thing about going to this school is that all of the courses that you take, you realize the field is huge and you could literally end up anywhere. So honestly, I don't really have a dream job other than being a scientist. And I feel like I'm already there. So all I need is just to graduate and then start working.
That's great. Thank you. I thought I'd seen a question pop in. Let's see. A lot of these are very similar, so I don't want to kind of keep asking the same sort of question. What, for example, is your favorite aspect about going to a school like Maine Maritime Academy? But I can go backwards. I've sort of been going in the same order. So Briana.
Yeah, I'll go. My favorite thing is like all my professors are like my best friends. I love every single one of them, you know, and I just like that relationship I have with them, and knowing that is what makes me a stronger scientist. You know, I really don't feel like I would have gotten that same experience or this same experience at any other school other than here. So that's what keeps me here.
Nice, thank you. How about, I'm going backwards, let's see. Joanna?
I think something different about here, like my freshman cruise, we got to go to Europe. I've never been to Europe, so I thought that was really neat. I probably would have liked to have gone in any other part of my life, but this was kind of like an opportunity for me to go. And I like the small atmosphere. It's pretty safe here. I like the culture around here, so I think it's just nice. You know, most of your professors. I've never seen like big lecture halls or anything. There's no like 100-person lectures. It's just like, I mean, especially for my classes, there's like 8 of us. It's the 8 same people running around to classes together. So that's what I like.
Thank you. How about you, Phoebe? Your favorite aspect of Maine Maritime Academy?
I definitely agree with both Bree and Joanna, is the small class size and being able to just talk to professors as if they're people and not that you're just like another number. I think it's really important aspect of Maine Maritime is the culture you get with all of your classes and your professors. And it's just really easy to talk to everyone and to ask questions and feel comfortable about asking them.
So in case anybody doesn't know this, Maine Maritime Academy has about 1,000 students in its student body. So if you're trying to understand what small was, I can kind of give you that background. How about for you, Molly? Favorite aspect of Maine Maritime?
My favorite aspect of Maine Maritime is kind of like how unique your day is. So I'll go from learning about celestial navigation and how to use a sextant to, I was kind of talking about earlier, I'm crawling around in a model oil tanker turning valves in the pump room, and I'm not sitting down most of my day. So it's really just up and moving and learning some really cool stuff.
Nice, thank you. And Ellie?
I think it's really similar to what everybody else said, is I really enjoy the small class size and how personal it feels with your professor and the culture with all the students here. But I also really enjoyed that even in your first semester here, you're already taking courses that are relevant to your major. You don't feel like you get washed in the general education requirements that some other universities have, where it doesn't really seem like you're doing what you came to college to do. So I was in the lab right away, first semester.
How many of you were on a vessel your first semester? And what vessels, what classes, why? Why were you even on boats? And kind of hard to see. You can sort of see our waterfront behind me in my background, but.
We actually did. Oh, Ellie, you take it.
Bree and I did for the freshman ocean studies, and Phoebe probably did this too. You do a freshman research cruise. You go out on the research vessel that the school has, the Friendship, and we sampled along a series of stations, water quality samples, and then you do a big report for the end of the semester on the data you collected.
I think, Phoebe, is that the same for you as well?
Yeah, same thing. And then we also took a few of the, oh my gosh, why am I blanking on what they're called? We took a few other vessels out to an island to do some research with, oh my gosh, why can't I think what it's called? Fossils. Holbrook Island is where we went, I think, with Professor O'Malley for
I think it's like
biology.
shell mapping.
Shell middens. That's
Middens,
what
there
it
it
was.
is. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Bree. Yeah, so that's another thing.
Holbrook, the mosquitoes were so awful. I've never met an aggressive mosquito before.
And it all just makes you, rougher and tougher and ready for the field of STEM. How about Joanna? What vessels were you on your first semester?
Just the TSOM. We do the training ship that we have, which is in that picture right there. You start standing watches your freshman year, so you learn how to stand watch on ship, and you also go through maintenance. That's actually your second semester, your freshman year, but you get little jobs to go to. It's like 4 hours long, and there's a course you take, fundies. You do all your engine room drawings down there. When you get ready for cruise, you do your pre-cruise drawings and deck stuff and engine stuff, and so you're pretty much on it. That's where you live during RBTs. You live on the ship and you get little ship familiarization things going on there. So you pretty much start on the ship when you're born here. You get right on, and then you jump off during ship jump, and that's your indoctrination.
I think you all did ship jump. We can circle back to that. And for you, Molly?
Just like Joanna, I was, born on that ship for 10 days, survived RPT. It was a great experience to, learn about the school. And something I know that, SVO majors, but deck majors will also start in these rowboats called Monvoys, and we'll have labs just going out, learning how to row, and you'll be the coxswain, which is the person. And it makes me seem like a small vessel, but you're learning something that if you have to get off a ship one day, you know how to row together.
Go for it, Phoebe.
I can also kind of speak towards the VOT program because when you take SVO on top of marine bio, you take the same introductory courses as VOT. So this past semester, I took a class called Intro to Vessel Ops, which is a first year class that you take as a vessel VOT major. And you get right out on the boats and lab. You're driving the launches and all the small vessels at the waterfront. So that's also something really cool and unique to the school.
And just to backfill, SVO is a small vessel operations program, VOT, vessel operations and technology, and then marine transportation operations are the different levels of transportation licenses and degrees that we offer. But I wanted to throw it back to Molly and Joanna. If you could just explain a little bit about what even is RPT and what is cruise.
Yeah, I can explain cruise because the sophomores didn't get to go on it this year, and then I'll let her take RPT. But cruise is a requirement if you are in a licensed program. You don't get to choose whether you want to go on it or not. But it's really fun. The curriculum's changed now, but like it used to be for freshmen, you'd get on for 70 days. We went from here, you stop in New York to take on fuel, and then we hopped across the pond and stopped in places like Spain. We stopped in 2 places there, and then England, Estonia, and then Norway, and then we popped back over here. And that's like, I think it was 72 days for that. And for the freshmen, you're basically, you kind of, at least for us, you got a taste of everything. You're kind of like, you would stand deck watches, so you'd learn how to do bow and stern watch, or fire and security, or like standing at the helm and steering. And And then you would do engine room watches, which is basically like oilers. You just run around, take gauge pressures and or temperatures, or just kind of check on the status of the plant, and then you kind of get the freshman jobs, the cleaning, the scullery. So it's character building. It's really fun. At the end of the day, you get to hang out on the O4 and play cornhole and hang out with your friends. It's a really good time. It's a great learning opportunity. You get to see things and learn lots of things and figure out, is this what I want to do? Or do I want to go in another direction? Do I want to do deck? Do I want to do engine? So it's pretty fun. It's a character building experience, but I love it. It was so fun.
I've seen all the pictures when you return. At least, what was that in 2019? 2020, our cruise didn't happen as planned because of the pandemic. So we've got a good plan in place for making sure everybody gets their cruises and who needs them for this summer. But man, all the pictures of the sunsets and the sunrises is just unreal. So how about for you, Molly, do you mind filling in what RPT is?
Sure. I kind of have a perspective as like an incoming freshman, and then I came back my sophomore summer, and I helped as training staff, so it was like a third class striker. So when I first came in as a freshman, I was really like curious / didn't have all the facts. My roommate had to fill me in before we got on the ship. She's like, yeah, we're gonna be on the ship for a few nights before we start school. I'm like, all right. And we lugged all our stuff to the ship, and this basically was an introduction to the regiment. It helped us like know which buildings were on campus kind of before starting classes. There was a few push-ups involved, but no harm done. And coming back as training staff, we had a lot of COVID precautions. So we were all very safe, wearing masks, and we had shifts. So I led a boat crew of 8 guys, all in the regiment, all mugs, and my job was to teach them kind of the rope.
Awesome. So you kind of experienced RPT. It's the 10-day regimental preparatory training that takes place before the fall semester if you come into one of the regimental majors. So Molly, you've kind of gotten to see it from both ends, both, as an incoming freshman and then as somebody who put the planning together and put the plan into action. So another question that I had for all of you, I think some of you are student athletes. Do you want to talk about what it's like to be both a student and an athlete? What team are you on? How does it pair? How can you do both, be successful in academics and athletics?
So I'm actually on the volleyball team here. And I think in large part as to why we are successful is like my coach, for one. She really pushes, academics first before sports, even though our team is amazing anyway. But besides that, we also have Professor Cleveland, who's like our athletic liaison and our biggest mascot, and she's like or our academic liaison. She's like our who we go to when we have issues academically, and if we have questions. And besides that, our professors are very understanding in terms of academics and in terms of athletics, and so they understand that we'll be gone sometimes. My freshman year, I missed a lot of classes, but I was able to pick it back up because of the support of my professors, which again ties into them just being my best friends. But it's awesome, and I think being a part of athletics is really that thing you need at the end of the day, because classes are tough, days are long, and it's just that release, and you learn leadership. You find your voice in athletics, you find your voice on your teams, and you're able to really grow as a person besides just school. So I think academics and athletics together are really important.
Thank you. I think, Ellie, are you on a team?
Yeah, so I'm on the swim team on campus, and it's the only co-ed team other than sailing, I believe. So it's really nice because you get to meet a lot of people that you otherwise wouldn't, because my major is very female dominated. So it's nice to be able to get to interact with people outside of your major and social circle that otherwise you wouldn't. And I think having that that place to kind of get out energy and unwind at the end of the day is really great, because sometimes you can get so caught up with schoolwork and other activities and homework that just having that allotted hour and a half of time a day to really blow off some steam and get your heart pumping can be really beneficial. And I think all of the coaches, like Bree said, are really focused on keeping academics first and understand that that's what we're all here to do. And that if you need to miss practice because you have a really big project or a lot of homework, that they're totally understand that that comes first.
Or is anybody else on the team? I don't want to pass over you if you are. Okay. Perfect. So this kind of segues. We've talked about what it's like in the regiment, what it's like as an athlete. What, if any, sort of extracurricular activities are you all involved in? I'm going to start with Molly because I know she mentioned the scooter.
Yeah, I'm in like positive terms here. I'm a boat nerd. I am second mate on Schooner Bowden, and I started off like as a mug, going down like once or twice a week, and we would do like sailing trips in the afternoon. We did weekend trips to Hurricane Island, and that was a really big trip with the yacht club. So there's so many opportunities. Even in the springtime, there's like boat maintenance. I learned how to take apart a block and put it back together. And I think that's a really valuable skill to have, is to learn how to sail, but know how to fix the parts of like traditional sail rig.
Just super handy to have if you're going around the world. Can almost hear your voice patching in. I think we might have a delay though.
Drive.
There we go. I couldn't tell what was going to happen with Zoom. How about you, Ellie? Beyond sports and classes, are you involved in anything else on campus?
Yeah, so outside of classes and the swim team, I am a consultant at the Writing Center on campus. So it's a place on campus where you can go to get your papers looked at and any sort of projects or any steps in the writing process. So you can kind of work collaboratively on a peer level. So I really enjoy it. You get to see all the writing that otherwise you wouldn't. And I'm also a tutor for physics and chemistry.
That certainly keeps you busy, I'm sure. So one thing that you'll notice, especially since we have a small school, is that our students are really involved in helping and supporting each other. So for example, with Ellie, if you're great at a class, or you know how Joanna said she was really into thermodynamics, you have the option to become a student tutor to others, or if you need a student tutor, you just want somebody else who's had the professor and aced the class help you out. So it's kind of nice that even at a small school, you still have those different supports. But yeah, thank you for that answer. How about you, Phoebe?
Just like Ellie, I'm also a tutor. I'm a tutor in general bio 1 and 2, and I'm also an ocean science tutor. And I also was a TA tutor for Gen Bio 101, 101 last semester. And in addition to that, I'm also a diving TA for our scuba program at the school. And I'm currently a dive master in training, which is a professional license that you can get. So I help out with the classes on the weekend. I do some repairs. I build the scuba tanks. It's a lot of fun. Oh, and I also work for CAB, which is Campus Activity Board. So that's another thing I do and am part of on campus.
Can you tell us what Campus Activities Board is or does, or what are you
Yeah.
doing now?
So basically what we do is we plan a bunch of events every week for students to join. They're all free. We do movies, crafts, paint nights, bingo, trivia. So just kind of trying to get kids or students out of their rooms. Well, not out of the rooms. I guess they're more virtual now, but just interacting and trying to do something other than school, get their mind off of school.
Awesome, thank you. How about Joanna?
Right now, I'm the president of SWE, which is the Society of Women in Engineering. It's like a little club that we have here. It's a nationally recognized thing, and this is just the Maine Maritime chapter. And there's all kinds of stuff that comes with that. You can go to like webinars and conferences. The other one I'm a part of is WOW, which is Women on the Water. We went to a conference in Texas at Texas A&M. That was pretty neat. We've done we went to the turbine plant in Bangor to watch turbine blades being machined. That was pretty cool. So that's what those have to offer. I'm also a thermodynamics 2 TA. And then I was a fluid power tutor last year. I was also a diesels tutor last year. And then I've tutored for chemistry and physics. And I've been asked for other stuff, but I said, no, I'm too busy. And I did cross country my freshman year, but I didn't continue with that. But all kinds of stuff that I got going on. And yeah, and then I have like a regimental wedge position that I do, which they call morale officer. I don't know what I do yet, but I got assigned that. So that's all my extracurriculars.
That's awesome, thank you. You can tell Joanna very well might become faculty or a professor someday in thermodynamics. And Briana, how about for you? Any other extracurriculars that you're involved in?
Yeah, I actually do a lot. Sometimes at times it's like way too much, but so first I work in the library, which I love. It's a great environment, and it's quiet and I can get a lot of work done. And secondly, I'm like an academic coach, so I've actually worked with some non-trad students and incoming freshmen who want help in terms of like time organization or time management and organization skills. So I mean usually I just take on a student and I get on them throughout the week, like, hey, did you do this, did you do that? I'm basically a mom. So outside of that, and then outside of all of like I'm also a lab assistant now. So I work with our lab manager and I help set up labs and clean glassware, stuff like that. And then outside of that, I'm really involved in like social initiatives, like social justice initiatives. I'm on like the Title IX committee. I was on the diversity and inclusion before, it got changed. And currently I'm like fostering a group called the Black Student Athlete Alliance, just to bring together, all the African-American athletes. And we're kind of establishing a group to help recruit outside of, this is going to sound weird, but outside of, white people, and just, try to, diversify our campus, which is a really big deal to me, especially in terms of just, again, representation. That's something we've been working on for a couple of months now. And by the end of the semester, we're going to actually be a group, which makes me so happy. You do not understand, because being here and being different on top of being a woman is just, it's like, it could be a lot sometimes. And so it's nice to really surround myself with people who, don't exactly look like me, but have shared experiences, and I help out a lot in athletics, especially with my coach, who's also really pushing different like social justice initiatives throughout the program. And it's just awesome. It's what I like to do.
Thank you. That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that you're really getting your, don't want to call it a club if that's not what it is, but your Student Athlete Alliance up and running.
Yeah, we're going to have to go through SGA anyway to like really establish ourselves. But I just hope like once we're a solid group and we build our numbers, people will look at it more than just a club and realize, we're here to not just, bring together the minorities of campus, but to educate those who just may not, get it or have ever been exposed to it. So that's something we're working on.
Thanks for sharing that, all of you. I think we might actually wind up wrapping up a little bit early. I've got sort of one more question for all of you. And this could be the hardest one. No, just kidding with you. What advice would you have to give specifically women entering the STEM field, women entering college, women entering Maine Maritime Academy? You can kind of take your pick. But you remember back when you were in high school, first applying to colleges, trying to figure it all out, what do you kind of wish somebody had told you about? I'll let someone choose to go first, and then we can kind of round out and go for it, Phoebe.
One thing that I actually always tell my younger brother, which is kind of weird, I always tell him to ask questions because I was really afraid in high school to ask questions and to have like any confidence in my answers in any of my science and math classes because, I was shy and I was like, I don't want to be wrong. But one thing that I've noticed being on campus at Maine Maritime is that be confident in your answers and just to always ask questions to your professors if you're confused or if you just want to know more about a subject. I think that is really helpful.
I wish I would have heard that when I was.
I totally agree with you, Phoebe.
Go for it, Molly.
Asking questions is so important, especially in class. There's going to be a lot thrown at you first year, freshman semester. If you don't understand something, don't be afraid in your classroom or your Zoom to speak up because, you're never going to know unless you ask. And like outside of the classroom, I highly recommend to any freshman, find that one thing. It's like if you're on the volleyball team like Bree, or if you're tutoring somebody like as a sophomore, just find one thing and you're going to meet a lot of new people on campus who share similar interests.
It's a great piece of advice, Molly. Joanna, do you want to add?
Yeah, I think any piece of advice is get ready to just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Nobody's going to do the work except you. You do have a lot of work coming at you. You need to figure out how to do time management skills, how to put the important things first, and be adaptable. It's a different environment here probably than any other college. I'm sure college is, it's got the same academic environment, but we've got additives to ours. So, be adaptable to new surroundings. Just do what you're told. Like if you're in the uniform, it's a little different. And get ready to be busy and just get ready for a really big life change. But it's really fun. It's really worth it. But don't sit and feel sorry for yourself. Everybody went through the same thing. So just adapt to your new surroundings.
I like that. That's great. How about from you, Briana?
So my advice would be just place your own value on yourself. You'll be in a lot of situations where you aren't really sure if this is where you're supposed to be, or if this is something that you can do, or if this is something that you could handle. Understand that you are way more worth it than you think. Coming here, it's hard, especially if you are in majors where you're surrounded by men who will devalue you just because of that. And it's crazy what you'll experience, but as long as you understand that this is your place and you make it your place, you'll get through it.
That's sort of a good thing to have a handle on, as well as you are a female entering some of these different industries in STEM, is that traditionally, historically, they have not been female dominated. So I think that's all great advice, just to keep your head up and keep going. There is somebody that I forgot, and I don't want to forget you. And I've changed my order. Thank you.
Follow up, Bree. Bree's very philosophical, and I think what Bree said about really focusing on yourself too is this might be coming to college your first time where you're really on your own. So it's a time for you to explore what really interests you as an individual. And I would encourage you to reach out and make as many connections as you can. And also just get involved in things that maybe you haven't done before, but you're interested in. It's a great opportunity to maybe get a new passion or a hobby, and a really great opportunity to meet people and expand your social circle.
Thank you. I think that's accurate. Phoebe, we did hear from you, right? Okay, perfect. I wanted to make sure. I wanted to open it up for just a moment. If any of our participants want to turn on their microphones, feel free. Now's a great time to ask any questions that you might have. You can also type in the chat. And if you don't have any, don't worry. No pressure. I know sometimes it's not, you know, the most favorite thing to turn on a microphone, or you might have a loud dog barking or something in the background. So. All right. Just want to make sure that nobody missed out on their opportunity. Well, so what I want to do is, in essence, you know.
Oh, there's a question.
Oh, it came through. Good. What kind of physical training do you go through on a weekly basis? I'm going to have
none.
Like
None. Well, okay, so for RPT, it depends on what it's going to be like this year. So RPT is your 10 days of fun. It's up to whoever's in charge of it to do it, but like how it was for me, we did PT like every day. But if it changes for you, I don't know. But it's just those 10 days, and then like during our mug month, there were like designated PT days. Unless you did a sport, then you got out of it. But like seeing past that, like typically we do like the PT test like once a semester. So it's like one miserable morning you get up and you go do your push-ups and your sit-ups and you go for a 1.5 mile run. But it's not like an everyday thing. It's not really a normal thing. It's just for freshmen it is, but it's fun. It's character building. But it's not hard. It's not hard.
What Joanna isn't telling you is once you get onto the training shift and you take all those ladder stairs up and down, I don't even know how many levels, 8, you'll be running 1.5 miles, no problem. Anybody else want to answer? I'm not sure, Kellen, if you mean necessarily if you're an athlete or not, so we can kind of accept any answers.
I mean, if you do mean in terms of athletics, volleyballs, you know, preseason, when we did have it, we trained really hard. And in season, it's like nonstop. So your body is tired at the end. Like there's some times where weekends will come and we aren't playing and I could sleep for 12 hours and I don't even know where it comes from. I'll just fall asleep and just not wake up. But it's nice. It's very much needed, which is why I think athletics is a great outlet. You know, just the building in general, there's a gym, just get yourself out there, and that helps mentally too. So
anybody else wanted to answer, or sort of a last call for any other questions you might have for our panelists? Last time I was too quick, so this time I want to make sure. Good thing you had your eye on the ball. All right, well, thank you all so much for being part of this, whether you were in the audience or if you were one of our current student panelists. This was a really special event and hopefully the first of many that we have like this. So I don't want to keep you on too late, especially I see Briana yawning. I know it's late, it's been a rough week. So thank you for coming. Be in touch. If you have any questions, you can always email admissions@mma.edu. I think you likely have my email address as well. And we will see you next time. Have a good rest of your evening, everyone.